Hello, I just want to make a little video about the politics of Jesus. Now, Jesus criticized kings, so I suppose that makes him a Republican. He said that the Jews would one day be a light unto the a light unto the nations, right? So he intends there to be nations, which means that he's a nationalist. And he's a cross between a socialist and an individualist, because apparently we're all equal in the eyes of God, I think the Bible says, and yet Jesus said the poor will always be with us. So that means there'll always be some respect for individual effort or abilities. He's also a gracist, believing that it's up to God which gifts we have. And that's about it, really. It all seems fair enough, really, I think, because if you were God, you would want to be able to decide what you did with your gifts and who you gave them to. And if you were fair, you would have to have some respect for individual effort. But you'd also have to think people are equal in some respect, e.g., under the law or under God's grace or whatever. You would have to think that if you were being fair, you'd have to think that everyone was getting some kind of equal treatment, and that people weren't being allowed to be naughty or unfairly advantaged in some way or something like that. I don't know what you call unfairly advantaged. Now there'd be a bit of an argument about that. Yes, there'd be an argument there, yeah. You might be unfairly advantaged if you worked really hard and ended up with all the money. That would be an unfair advantage, really, because it would give you power over other people. The socialism thing is, did I mention socialism? I think there's an element of socialism there, because in the Bible, because and that makes sense, because in a closed system, people would have to treat each other with some degree of concern, because otherwise you would end up with the situation we have now, with really rich people being able to lord it like crazy over poor people. And so you'd have to have some element of socialism. A lot of people say God is not a socialist. A lot of people say God is a socialist. I think you'd have to have an element of socialism, or you'd end up with the New World Order kind of crazies that we have now, that Alex Jones talks about so much on his channel. But you'd have to have an element of individualism as well, because otherwise you would have some people being a little bit lazy. You'd also have to have some respect for the fact that some people just have talents and abilities that you don't have. I mean, if you were going to spend eternity in heaven, you'd have to be able to not feel too much resentment to someone because they had gifts that you wish you had. You know, otherwise that'd make trouble. And it'd stop being heaven if everyone got a bit irate about that. So he's also a peacenik to some extent, Jesus must be, because otherwise quarrelsome types, which the Bible, thank God, speaks against, would go to heaven. So there you are. If you fit that bill, you might be going to heaven. I fit it fairly well, so hopefully I am. Thanks, bye.